Hello Wargamers and welcome to another Steel Division Normandy 44 with me, Bubblebox, and today was the second big update for the open beta, and today they introduced quite a lot of stuff, including two new divisions, the 2nd Division Blindee for the French and the 21st Panzer Division for the Germans, which of course includes the Conex Tiger, the Tiger II. This is it here and it's in the game now. We'll be having a look at that very shortly. Also in this update, two new maps, Colville and Montour Mel, which is a map which actually has elevation. So that's going to be really interesting to have a look at and also to play when I get around to playing it as well. There's also a new game mode, I guess, play mode, multiplayer mode in the game called Quick Play, in which you set up your team and just press Quick Play, and then anyone that's also in Quick Play will also join, will try to join into your room. It's not the competitive part of the game, it's just a way to get into a game, hopefully kind of quickly with some other random people. I'm not sure if it's really going to work. We'll have to see, because I generally think people are just going to go to the multiplayer and check out who's on and which games are up and set their own games up anyway. So we'll have to see how that one goes as far as Quick Play is concerned. They've also put out quite a big, large-ish, not too big, a large-ish balancing patch. We'll have a look also at the more interesting points in that balancing patch that I consider more interesting anyway. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to split this into two videos. The first video I'm going to be having a look at the maps, the two new maps, and the 21st Panzer Division, sorry, and then in the second video I'll have a look at the 2nd Division Blindee and also at the balance patch as well. So first of all, let's kick off with having a look at the new maps. So this is the first of the maps that have been introduced into the game, Montour Mel, and it looks very green and fertile map. This is the 4v4 version. I'm not sure exactly how the 2v2 and 3v3 versions will look, which part they'll take a part of this map and use those. They may even turn them in a slightly different direction, which might be interesting as well, because the first thing you might notice, well, it might be the first thing, it might be the second thing. There's two main things that are a lot different on this map than there are on many of the other maps. The first thing is we've got a main artery that goes right through the center of the map here, and all the way along that main artery is this kind of forest. So that's going to be really interesting to see some of the infantry fighting and perhaps the hellish artillery barrages that are going to occur when players are trying to fight their way through that forest. Now also you've got elevation in the game. Now I'm not exactly sure what effect elevation is going to have. I certainly don't think it improves your line of sight at all, really, because obviously if you go behind the trees or behind buildings, you still can't see behind those buildings or behind those trees, even from an elevated line of sight. But apparently, according to their stream, or Paradox's stream, it does increase the accuracy of units that have elevation and increases, perhaps, this is what they say, I'm not so sure they got it quite right, it also might increase the viewing distances of the units on the elevated parts of the map. We'll have to check that out in Eugen's stream tomorrow. But it does make for a really interesting and different looking map. You can see we've got elevation here, a step up here, and then we've got yet another step up there with this little farm down here in the valley. So in the centre, we've already spoken about, we've got this big area over here. On the left, we have actually got more elevated grounds. There's a whole plateau here, and you can see the outline of it around here. And it actually looks like the player coming from the red direction over here has actually got maybe a slight advantage, because they can get onto the plateau a little bit quicker than the player coming in from this direction, which is actually going to end up in kind of a valley here, getting shot down upon as they try to move forward. I wonder if that's reversed on the other side. Let's have a quick look. No, the other side actually looks a lot flatter, although on this side blue has got the advantage of having all these farms over here they can set up in, and this large tree line along here, in the bocage country to hide in, whereas coming from the red side on this side, you've got a lot of open ground where some long-range weapons could easily take you out, I guess. Although you have got some farms here to fall back into as well. And oh, I thought they were bunkers. They're not. They're just rocks. Okay. So there's also some open land over here, but if you're on this side, you should be able to clear that. Now, another interesting feature is we have a little river running through here. It's less of a river, more of a large stream. So I'm not sure how much impact that this is going to have on gameplay on this map. We'll have to check it out. I'm assuming most units will be able to traverse this kind of shallow water. Even tanks and stuff, even if they're not amphibious, should be able to get across there, I would think. Even in the deeper stretches over here, it doesn't look that deep or that difficult to cross for any vehicles or any infantry units really, but we'll have to check that out. So we've got a main artery coming up here. Looks quite difficult for the red side on over here to get to the front line very quickly. They have got an artery along here, but nothing that goes directly to this side. I guess it's kind of the same on this side. I just think these have got more of the advantage because of these buildings. In the centre, lots of farms. Again, fairly open around the centre here, which is where all the battles. A bit of bocage country just over there, but again, I reckon huge fighting going to be occurring over this area, trying to take these farms, trying to take the high ground over here. So that is the first of the new maps. Looks pretty good, and we'll have to see how it plays. So here's the second map that's been introduced into the game today, Colville. And as you can see, the first noticeable thing is two very large towns towards the centre of the map, with each side having the advantage in one particular town or the other. So in this map you can see blue's going to have the advantage here, can get into this town very easily along this artery here, with red perhaps trying to sneak in just to get a foothold over this side. Can use the cover of the orchards as well around and about that particular town. But on red side, red's got the advantage on this town, can get into this town obviously very easily and start pushing up through here, whereas much more difficult for blue to get a foothold here. And indeed, at the back of this town, quite open ground, and if red does manage to push and actually take control of the edge of this town, then blue's going to have a hard time retaking that area if they're fairly equal should I say, players. So two nice big towns in the centre of the map. However, the rest of the map looks quite open, certainly nowhere near as dense as the last map we had a look at, and is particularly on the flanks looks really quite a lot of open ground, especially near where the armies are probably going to meet, which is along the line between the blue and the red. So yeah, lots of open ground, definitely tank country on the flanks. There is some trees and a little bit of bocage, but certainly not as dense as we've seen it in previous maps, and it's the same kind of story over here on this side of the map as well. There's also not too many orchards away from the towns and away from the centre. There's not too many orchards to block line of sight as well, the orchards being these kind of funny looking tree, the regular tree patterned areas. And on this side as well, a few orchards around here, but on the flanks certainly not. Oh, there's quite a few actually over on red side over here, not so many on blue side. And in the centre, again quite open, so a couple of orchards in the centre and some trees, but nothing too heavy. And again, it's got to be tank country in the centre between the two towns as well. Going to be a really interesting map to play as well. Apart from that, just having a look round for any other features. We've got some bunkers down here, so could perhaps be a fallback position, maybe in a destruction game where the front line isn't quite as important when it comes to game victory. You've got some bunkers you can fall back in and put some infantry in back there. For on this side, if you're on this side of the map, you've got a few orchards to hide in on that side of the map centrally. There's a bunker system over here at the back of the town. Not sure if that'll... I mean, I reckon if you're backed off that far down and you haven't been able to take the town, you're probably going to lose certainly this area of the map. There is that bunker complex down there as well, if needs be. And I can't see any bunker complexes over on the right-hand side. Apart from that, we have got one more very interesting area. We've got some marshland down here. Now it's not going to be featuring too much in the gameplay because it's right back in Blue's spawn zone here as we're looking at it on the map. We've got a little farm in the centre here, looking awesome with all its veggies growing and everything. And around it all this marshland, so it would be interesting to see maybe in a future map if they put a marshy area actually somewhere where a battle is going to occur. Perhaps have a massive marshy area on one of the battle maps so that we can see exactly what can go in the marshy area, what can't go in the marshy area. Can infantry walk in here? Can tanks go in here? Is it just amphibious vehicles? What? It'd be really interesting to have that maybe in a future map. So definitely a more open map, definitely more tank country, although we have got these two big towns as well. So moving on, we're going to have a look at one of the divisions that was introduced into the game in this patch, and the first division we're going to have a look at is the 21st Panzers, Rommel's Circus. So Rommel the Tinkerer, Panzer. 21st Panzer is the light cavalry. We're very strong in phase A with plenty of old French cavalry tanks and some custom made vehicles, but it gets winded in phase B, although in phase C it can count on a very welcome Conex Tiger. Well, I might disagree a little bit with that, saying it's weak in A and weak in B, but when we have a look at the deck you'll see why. So let's have a quick look at the because this is Rommel's old division, I believe, in Tunisia. So we're going to have let's have a quick read through of the little bit of the history. Destroyed in Tunisia in 1943, the elite 21st Panzer Division was reformed in France from surviving personnel and reserve units and equipped mostly with modified captured French armoured vehicles close to the beaches. It was the only Panzer Division to react immediately to the Allied invasion and counter-attack on D-Day. So let's get in and have a look at this particular battle group. Well, I know what you all want to look at, and it's this guy, isn't it? But we're going to look at this guy a little bit later on. We'll just quickly do what everyone's going to do, and we'll quickly put those in our battle group straight away, because everyone's going to go straight to the tank section and put those two in. But I want to have a very quick look at all the units that are in this division. It's not going to take too long. I'm not a deck build, I'm just going to have a quick look, and if there's any that we've already looked at, we're going to skip over them quite quickly. So first of all, the Recon. Got quite a lot of Recon tabs. Got 6 Recon tabs in this division. Spar Trooper, we already know all about those 4-man squads coming in the Kubles. Kubles are going to be quite fast, so you should be able to get for the front line fairly quickly and push these guys up and get good vision on the enemy. Also, we've got the Auflara, which are the 2-man equivalents. This time though, they've got the SPW221s. We all know how good they are, so we're not going to go into those in too much detail right now. We've got the Spar Trooper as well. The Spar Trooper are 4-man squads once again, the same as we've already had a look at, but this time instead of coming in the Kubel, they're coming in the SDK-FZ with the dual medium machine guns. Also in A, we've got the Auflara again, but this time in the SPW-222 with the AP cannon and the machine gun as well. So you can either bring them in for a little bit more with the SPW-222, or you can bring them in with the SPW-221. Definitely go for the 222, I'd say. It's 15 points more, but it's just so much better armed, basically. Also in A now, which you couldn't get in the last Panzers division that we had a look that's in the game already, you can now get SPW-231s and 233s in Phase A with this particular division, and this is good. This is a good thing, and I would probably advise you to get the SPW-231s because they're just good, a very good all-round fire support vehicle for Phase A. You've got the cannon, 20mm cannon, and you've got the medium machine gun. With the SPW-233 you've just got the cannon. It has got a better AP power, it does fire HE, but you really want that fast firing cannon, I believe, and the machine gun to suppress infantry, and you want your tanks to be doing the other sort of work for you, the AP work for you in this deck. So lots and lots of Recon to choose from in Phase A. Should have no trouble spotting the enemy. As far as Phase B and Phase C is concerned, looks like just more SPW 231s and 233s in B, and just more SPW 231s and 233s. I'm not going to go through those in detail. As I say, this isn't a deck build video, but that's what you get for your Recon in this new division. Infantry. Now, the infantry doesn't look too shabby, to be honest. It looks in fact, it looks very similar to the other Panzer Division in the game. You've got your Panzer Führers, which you can get in the Kubels for 15 points, or you can get in the Bef U2. Is that a new vehicle? It's a half track anyway. You can get them in the half track, so you can get either one or the other. A little bit more if you want the half track. Then we've got the staple Panzer Grenadiers for Phase A with the AT weapon and 2 medium machine guns. Very nice. A lot of people have these in their deck. It's just a really, really nice all-round infantry deck. And again, you can get them with the half tracks with the medium machine gun. And that's pretty much it for A, I believe. Yep, that's pretty much all you can get in A. In B, you can get more Panzer Grenadiers either in Opel Blitzes this time, or can you get them in... Yeah, or you can get them in the half track. So you can either get more Panzer Grenadiers and Opel Blitzes, which is going to be a little bit quicker for you and a little bit more available, no, just a bit cheaper basically, or you can get them if you want, yeah, more half tracks in B. Depends on the type of game you want to play. Pioneers as well, of course, they've got the frag grenade if you need to use that. I tend to stick to Panzer Grenadiers to support my tanks, and basically if you're choosing this division you want to be bringing your tanks out, you don't want to be bringing too many infantry out, so I tend to stick with the Panzer Grenadiers. And then you've got Storm Pioneers as well with the flamethrower if you fancy those, and they can come in the half track as well. I don't think they come in the Opel Blitz, just in the half track for those. And there's a medium machine gunner as well if you want to get a set of those. So that's it for your infantry. Moving on though, this is what everyone's really interested in, the tank department, and we're going to have a good look at those Conex Tigers in a second. But first of all, we've got well, it's got decent tanks until you get to Phase C, of course. When it's got excellent tanks. It's got the command tanks, the Panzer 35S in A. Yeah, it is what it is. Most of the sort of tank decks have got this type of tank as a commander in A, but you can also get 3 of these guys non-commander style as well if you would rather, or you can even get both if you want to go really, really tanky. Now you have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tank slots for this Panzer Division. It's not the most in the game. I think the other Panzer Division in the game so far has 8 slots, and so does the USA Armored Division has 8 slots, but you have got 7, so you're going to maybe need to be a little bit choosy on what you take, especially maybe don't take so many tanks in A, fill up in B and C, which is where all your real power is going to come from with this deck. There is also a captured Sherman in A if you want to use this. Oh no, it's not in A, in fact it's in B. So yeah, that's it for A, those small tanks. In B, you get a captured Sherman. However, although you get a captured Sherman, you've also got the Panzer 4G in B as well. Both 130 points, and my thing is, well, why would you get a Sherman when you can get Panzer 4G? The only possible reason would be because you get the 12.7mm heavy machine gun that you can shoot aircraft with and decimate infantry and light vehicles with as well. So that might be a reason to get it. Yeah, basically the Panzer 4G more powerful, the Sherman more powerful in terms of machine gun fire, gives you a little bit of anti-air cover and is slightly better armoured. However, probably most people in B are going to go straight for the Panzer IVs, which is the backbone of this particular division, even though you can get the Conex Tigers in C, of course. There's Bef Panzers, first of all. Are they better than the Panzer IVs? They look quite similar. I think the main gun, actually, the Bef Panzer and the Panzer 4G, same main gun it looks like, but with the Panzer 4H you get triple machine gun, whereas the Panzer 4G you get a dual machine gun. So I think that's where the extra 10 point comes from. Oh, a little bit extra armour on the 4H as well. And it's only 10 points more, so yeah, maybe it does look a little bit better. Now for the same price, Oops, just pulled my headphones out, hold on. There we go. So for the same price, 140, you can get either one of the BEF Panzers, but you can have the availability to have 5 of the Panzer 4Hs instead. Exactly the same, of course, except that you're going to get 5 of them, but it won't be a commander. Everything else is exactly the same. You get triple machine gun, same armor, or you can get 3 at veteran. And you could maybe get 3 at veteran and get the commander, which will make everything go to kind of elite standard, which might be one way of doing it. But there's different combinations that you can use. You might just want to spam out huge numbers. But with an AP power of 14, can tackle most things, I think, in Phase B, and is definitely going to be your mainstay tank for this particular division. And then, of course, we move on to the Conex Tiger. You can get 2 of these in C. And yep, check out the stats. AP 22 is going to blow apart anything in the game. And this may be the death knell for the Jumbo. Now, for a Jumbo to kill this thing, it's going to actually, I believe, have to get to within 300 meters to actually kill this thing in the front armor. And killing this thing in the front armor isn't going to be much of an option in the game, I don't think. You're going to have to kill it in the side or in the back, and it's still got decent side armor, very, very decent side armor of 9, and decent rear armor of 9 as well. So 19 front armor, yeah, horrendously difficult to kill this thing in game. But look at the price, 350 points. That is a lot of points required to bring these in. In spammy 10v10s, yep, you're going to see these things in the game in Phase C all the time, and it's going to make it really good fun, I think, playing those 10v10s either as the Axis and using these, or as the Allies and coming up against these things and trying to find out a way of trying to kill them. In 1v1s, 2v2s, 3v3s even, you're going to see a lot of these on the field because people are going to have to save up a lot of points to get these things out, and it is only 1 unit, so we'll have to see how that plays out in multiplayer games where there are slightly less people involved. Apart from that, there are only 3 that you can get out. You can either get out the elite one, or you can get 2 of the veteran, or you can of course get both. But can you imagine an elite one of these? It's going to pop everything. It's just a matter of, can it pop enough stuff to accrue back its 350 points that it costs you to bring out. Another thing that's going to be interesting, and I reckon will happen, 3 of these are going to cost 369 1050 points, isn't it? 3 of these is going to cost 1050 points, and I bet you there's going to be a lot of players sitting in 10v10s holding on to their 1000 whatever it is, 50 points until Phase C, and then bringing out 3 of these things. It's going to happen, you know it is. It's going to be really interesting. So that is it. That's the big boy for this deck. That's the Conex Tiger. Let's move on and have a look what we got for the support. So we've got the stuff we've already seen. I'm not going to go over these in detail. The SPW233, reasonable cheap command vehicle. Then the SDKs, very nice for Phase A maybe. And then Opel Blitz trucks. Panzer 4C, we haven't seen this before. This is an okay support weapon. It's 80 points. It's not that expensive, and you get 2 of them. What's it good for, though, is the question. It's got triple machine guns, and it can fire HE and AP at a range of 1,000. So for me, it's kind of not quite, that can't quite make its mind up what it is. So, which is why I'm not quite sure about it until I play it in the game. Got some flamers there as well. 2-man squad's a bit squishy. More SPW 232. Oh, these are 232s. Okay, so these have got the these have got the AP gun as well. These are the decent ones in B. Commanders as well. More Opel Blitzes. And then we've got the Rumbar. Now, this is a decent, this looks like a decent weapon insofar as infantry and destroying of towns and vehicles, and destroying of structures and houses and farms, etc. It's got a massive 51 meters AOE. An okay rate of fire of 3, accuracy of 5, and a range of 1,000, and has a medium machine gun to help defend itself as well. So 14 front armor as well, so very resistant to kind of tanks that might creep up on it. You can get this thing out of the way, but certainly a very, very good infantry support vehicle when attacking towns, villages, tree lines, whatever. The Rumbar can be brought out in B and in C. Anti-tank wise, got a funny little thing here. The UE630F pack. This is the same gun with 5 AP that you see on some of the half tracks, I believe, and the lighter vehicles. It don't look that good to me. The only good thing is you get 4 of them, so I guess you can spread them around. Basically, they're very, very weak version of some of your half tracks for just 35 points. Very cheap, very spammy unit. Then you've got the standard pack 38 50mm. I'm not going to go into that. We've seen those before. You can get them in Kubels or in half tracks. Panzers, definitely going to probably want some of those, either in A or in B. You can get 2 in A, or you can get 5 actually in B, which looks pretty good. Or in A they come with the half track, and in B they come in the Kubel. In fact in B they come in the Kubel. Or you can get 4 in the half track. Okay, here's another new weapon, the S307F pack. 13 AP, okay, that's not too bad. Not very well armoured, open top. Again, no HE. What's it useful for? Do you want to spend 80 points on this when you can save up and bring more Tiger 4s out? I'm not quite so sure. We'll have to try that one out. Pack 88 mils. In A as well, so lots of anti-tank weapons in A, in fact. Apart from that, Panzers, Pack 75s in B, Marders as well in B with the 1,200 meter range, so can outrange many of the enemy's tanks, and anti-tank weapons as well. 88mm packs in B, more 75s in C, and more Marder ones in C. Anti-air, we'll flick through this fairly quickly. I think we've seen all of these weapons before. Again, when it comes to anti-air, I'm not going to go through these actually. What I tend to do is go for a combination of kind of mobility and firepower, which often don't go hand in hand. The bigger caliber the weapon, the more damage it's going to do. The lower caliber the weapon often is more mobile. I'm tending also very much tending away from taking AA out at all in A now. Bring it out in B when it's needed, and in C when you need to bolster your anti-air defences. Artillery, 5 slots for artillery. Lots of mortars, quite a few mortars. Well, I don't know, we've got some mortars in A, SDKs. Let's have a look. Oh, 1,200 meter range, not too shabby then. Range wise, 85 points. Standard mortars, and then we've got these things in A as well, so you've got some rocket artillery in A, so that looks pretty good. The range is 1,000, so you're going to have to get them fairly close, but these 5 HE isn't that powerful, but how many do they fire at once is the question, and probably quite a lot of those 5 HE rockets are going to fire at once. It gives a loadout of 96. Now whether it fires maybe half of them at a time, so 35 and 38 at a time, I don't know, but certainly supporting your infantry in phase A with this weapon might be something to look out for in the game, and you can get you could get 6 of them if you really wanted to. Apart from that, we've got another new weapon here, the FK-18. This is this has got quite a long range for a phase. Oh no, this is a phase B, my apologies. So yeah, 2,000 meter range, not too high on the HE power, AOE of, I say only 29, it's not, you know, it's quite good, but maybe not for an artillery weapon at 80 points. There's a much better one down here, I think. Yeah, we'll have a look at it in a minute. Got more mortars, if you want some more mortars in phase B. Then you've got this thing, the Rheinwerfer, another multi-rocket launcher. Slightly longer range at 1,200. Just another rocket launcher in B for the Germans, seem to have a lot of those. And then we've got this looks a lot more useful, the PZH-39H, 2,400 meter range, this time 15 HE power. This looks like much better than the, what was it, this silly little thing, the FK, whatever it is. Yeah, this thing's definitely a proper artillery piece. Available in B. And then in C, we've got more of these. Oh, actually, we've got this Verfarmen, which we haven't looked at yet. Oh, this is another kind of bomb launcher. This looks like one of the, yeah, this is one of the little tanks with some bomb launchers strapped to the side. Now these look like they are going to do a lot of damage. 1,300 meter range and an AOE, a huge AOE of 104. Wow, that is a lot. Watch out the railway station on Colville if someone rolls up with a few of these in phase C. Oh, I missed out the Lorraine. Now I do like the quite like the look of the PZH Lorraine. It's got a range of 1,600. You can bring it out in B, but it's got a decent HE this time of 27 and a decent AOE of 51. You can get a load of them in C, or a couple of those in C as well. I think they look like a decent artillery piece. 120 points. You've got some off board, but not till C. But you've got all your rocket launchers anyway, so why are you worried? You've got your off board in C as well, just with a little machine gun. Air-wise, again, very restricted for the air. Only 3 shots. You can get Storches, but why the hell would you? Does anyone tell me if you get Storches, why are they good? I have not come up with a use for them at all as yet. Ju-87Ds. Now, they have changed some of the stats on the planes, and we'll be having a look at that in the next video when I do part B of the update. But yeah, they've changed some of the stats on the planes, which might make these a little bit more usable. But you've got to have air superiority if you're going to use these things still because of their speed. And I think if you bring out a couple of Ju-87Ds, which is a perfectly good opening move, especially on a 10v10, perhaps not for a smaller game, but you're going to have to bring out the ME-109s as well to protect them. I think it's almost mandatory that you're going to have to take those and the Ju-87Ds if you want to bring out these bombers in phase A. In phase B, you've got Focke-Wulfs 190s, more of an interceptor than a dogfighter, I guess. The ME-109s probably better with very good agility. The F-190s, well, kind of halfway between an interceptor and a fighter, I guess. You can get them vetted up as well. I'm not going to go into too much detail. We've seen all these planes before. Then we've got some rocket planes. The rocket planes have been nerfed a bit. Again, we'll have a look at that in the next video. They're not going to be as effective as they have been. And then we've got some more Focke-Wulf bombers, slightly bigger payload though, 250 kilogram bombs, and some of the Ju-88Ss as well. Ju-87Gs, have we seen these before? I think we have. I tend not to use these dive bombers, but tell me if we've had the Ju-87Gs already. I think we have. These are your tank busters anyway, 12 AP power, got these tank busting guns, cannons on the front. Again, I think 160 points is very expensive to lose these planes if you don't manage to kill a tank in the process, and you're going to have air superiority to use these things, which is quite difficult against the Allies at the moment with all those Spitfires flying around. Then three more sets of 2 Ju-88s. So my friends, that is it. That's the new division. A very quick look at the new division for the new Panzer Division for the Germans. I'll go over in the next video the French division and also the patch notes that came out as well. So thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.